Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, hope that you are doing okay. I hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, my friends, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, my friends, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we discuss here on the Common Sense channel. So, once again, my friends, welcome to the Common Sense channel. For today's topic, I want to focus on COV and how COV has changed the world forever. Today's topic is how COV has changed the world forever. But as the great one says, man to man, that full of distrusting now, and behind they try to eliminate you. But who Jah bless, no one curse. Thank God we found a fact. Your worst enemy could be your best friend, and your best friend, your worst enemy. Some may eat and drink with you now, and behind they try to eliminate you. Only your best friend knows your secret, and only he can reveal them. And who's that God fit? Let him wear it. Oh yeah, I am a Tomicon, I am a Tomicon, I am a con no fall. I say yeah, I'm a choo choo choo, pa pa ta 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 ta, pa pa ta. So now you get the message. So today I want to talk to you about COV and how COV has changed the world forever. You know, like I said often on my channel, on this channel, we talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we talk about here on the Common Sense channel. So we're going to talk about COV, you know, and we all know there are elements in our society prior to COV that we all have respect for. For example, and not only respect, we put our trust in these institutions. There are institutions we put our trust in. And so I'm going to start with the medical institutions in our world, not just in this country now. We know the impact of COV was felt across the globe. And one of the institutions that we all looked onto was the medical institution. This would be across the universe. And there are people in that institution, the ones that we hold at a higher esteem, the ones that when we are faced with situation as COV, we are rental trying to get solution. No, I don't want to say we are, because there were people that were looking on the other side. I'm going to talk about them too. But yeah, we went up to these people, we run up to them, we look up to them, and we thought they were, you know, as usual, they were honest about who they are, they've always stand on, you know. And then it turns out that these people that we're looking up to were nothing but sell out, you know. And even those with common sense in that same institution, with common sense, were being maligned, set aside, talked about. You know, they were called all sort of names, and these individuals who were also member of that institution were calling on these people. I know I saw many of them, maybe 10 or 15 of them, saying, hey, bro, we need to take a deep look into this thing and see what is happening here before we rush into the kind of decision we're trying to make. And those individuals were sidelined. And it was the saddest thing. Some even lose their job over this stuff because they were standing on principles and they were standing on the truth. And even up to this day, with the president in place, with the secretary of health, none of these people have ever been brought to even have a saying, even have like a hearing on this individual as to what happened during the COV time. And that goes across the globe with people who were heading the medical department in each of these countries. No, there's no accountability. There's no questioning. It's just almost as if that thing COV never happened in our world. And that's the saddest part of it. None of these people, we had one, he was almost like God, and that individual has never been brought to justice, there's no accountability. No one even know where he's staying right now. But the most I can tell you, that he is filthy rich. You understand? There's no accountability whatsoever. And then all those people that lost their reputation, the good ones, the ones with common sense, that were speaking against the ills of that COV, and all the people that were behind what happened, none of them have ever been brought to justice for their misguidance, their lies, and for all the things they've done to get innocent people to buy into whatever they were doing. Whenever a system can be set up to pay you for something that pertaining to your own health, since I've been in this country, I've never had a situation where my job or a government pay me to get treatment. No, I've never had that situation. Every laws that govern this country and across the globe were broken as far as your right to choose what you think is good for you. As far as your right to live or die. We all have that right to live or die. It's called self-determination, to path our own direction in life. And all of those rights were violated, were broken, were abused because of people who had an agenda. People who they call themselves medical scientists, researchers. They had no moral compass. They had no integrity. They were willing to sell their integrity for money and fame and put the lives of millions across the globe in danger. I can't wait to see what the side effects will be in the coming years or decades from that failed decision, misguided decision by people with evil intentions. And today we have a president that stood on principle, that said he was going to do something about that. And up to now, nothing has been done for the innocent lives that were destroyed as the result of bad individuals, evil individuals. So yes, that's the medical field. And even today, the effect is all over the place. We don't know what the effects will be, but I can tell you it won't be great. It won't be good for the innocents. You understand? So our world, this is what happened during this time. And everything has never been the same since then. It's sad to say, I hope that humanity can learn from this and never trust anyone that stands in front of you and tells you, I'm this, I'm that. So again, I throw me corn. I don't call no fall. No fall. You understand? So yes, the medical field, the most trusted body or bodies on the planet, let the world down. Understand? Now let's talk about these other folks. And I don't want to talk about government, because government, they were as complacent as these people. To see the president is taking the COV. So because the president is taking the COV, you go take it too. And people like myself were out there speaking the truth. And people thought we're crazy. People thought we're even if it was a law, they try to arrest people. Even my job, they were like, we will boot you out of here. Like, ooh, man, don't you know in this country there are rights? In fact, that stuff, they even go to Congress. Congress, they even legislate the stuff that you say you're going to boot me out. I said, okay, do that. Let's see if I won't take you to court. Even the court system, everybody was like, ooh, no, everybody. I mean, the common sense alone, there are few people that had common sense. That's a terrible time to live. When only few good people in the world. That's terrible. I mean, like we just move on as human beings, as humanity. We just move on and as if nothing happened. But it was a terrible time we live in. There are people that got their fired from a job for just standing for their basic rights, for what was right, for their basic instinct. And these people are right all along that we are born, inherently born with natural immune system that the Creator has designed in each of us. These people are so brazen, the medical people were so brazen that they almost even bring it to our kids. And I was waiting. I said, well, this is a line you wouldn't cross. So you see, this is what it did to us. And let me tell you, it changed the world forever. You know, when people used to go sit in their physician office and they would talk for some time, you know, and if the physicians are like, please don't come over here before you give me that stuff, COV. And then today, see what happened. Now people don't even want to go there. Now it has to be over the phone or on the internet. You know, people are not really moved to go. So how do you get them? So now you have mobile clinics. You have mobile medical triage. You see, in most places now, they have to go meet you or they find a way to meet you when everything used to be the opposite of that. So our world has never been the same since COV. Change everything, change the way we see everything, change the way we view the people we trust to help with our care. People like me have always been a skeptic from time. I was born a skeptic because I don't even trust my own self. So I've always kind of like look at people different. I mean, even if you're saying something to me, I'm always like thinking, what's the intention? I've always been like that. So, but I didn't even know I was skeptic by birth. I believe that there are people out there that are skeptic by birth, you know, and it's a good thing because when you're a skeptic, you're not gonna be treated as a sheep or goats. You're gonna be okay. And I think when people are talking to you, they're gonna be like, they gotta be wise because they're gonna be this guy right here or this lady right here. They understand, you know. So I think it's good to be a skeptic. Not everybody want to be your friend if you're like that because they think you're, I don't want to use that word on YouTube, but they're going to think you're something else. So yeah, it's always good for us to be skeptic of any of these people. You know, I mean, if you have, there are good ones out there. There are good medical professionals out there. I'm not telling you. And we saw them. We saw them during that time, during COV time. They demonstrated that they have morals, they have ethics, they had integrity. I seen this one guy, he had his YouTube channel. He was back and forth. They even canceled this man for speaking the truth. And today, all the people that were involved in that corruption and in that cover up, today you even hear none of their voices. They're probably somewhere working and deceiving other people. And these are the people that needs to be brought to justice. So those souls that should have never been dead in the first place can get some justice. And I think there are a lot of people that are alive today that did not listen to some of these people that were on news on the media promoting this thing, COV, for the world to indulge in, their loved ones would have been alive today. I saw it. I witnessed this thing. We all witnessed this thing. And today's silence. Ying, you can hear nothing about it. And I think there are a lot of people in this country that wants answers to what happened during that time in this country. I think across the globe needs answers. Or else these people are going to be walking this earth free. And I think it's not fair. But again, there's no such thing as fairness. The world does not exist on that. The world is not based on fairness. Even though they try to preach it, but they never live or practice it. So yeah, another sector of our society that I want to talk about, but I know I can talk about them in general because it was a time. For me, it was an eye opener. For me, it was that time that I actually start to understand that this sector of society is all about business. And I think they're in cahoots with GOD, or GOV, or whatever you want to call it. GOD is the religious, organized religion. Organized religion was my biggest surprise. I was like, what? Organized religion? These people talk about 666. The 666, they're going to put the mark of the beast on your forehead. And everyone is going to give. And all those people, the only people that are going to stand up to them are the Christians, the believers. When COV came, even COV, they couldn't even stand up with temerity, with tenacity, and say, no, we serve a God that is as powerful as COV. We will not cave to whatever it is you're bringing at us. We know, based on biblical story, biblical story like the one in Moses' story, when the people of God were in Africa and they were saying, Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh said, no, you're not going nowhere, people of God. And then God in the Bible sent a plague upon them. So all the good people, the people of God, the plague went and it passed, and then passed by the door. It didn't touch their own door and their own kids. It only went for the bad people. Well, I was hoping. It was the time I said it was so funny to me because I thinking, I said, why is it that the plague didn't even pass all the good people, the people of God, and then hits the Pharaoh people. But guess what? It was that time I started to see this thing as nothing but a fake and a fraud. And I remember going to a church, and I was one of the people that like over my dead body. Yeah, kind of attitude. I had that kind of attitude, man. That was my attitude. Attitude is a state of mind. That's how I felt. And all along I was right. And I remember they had seating for people like myself. And sometimes they even look at me funny too. It was like, okay. And then they tell you God is in this building. The power of God is in our presence. And yet, if the power of God is in your presence, I should say, why didn't He heal everyone in that place, including the one that don't believe, or the one that are just sitting there, the one that you segregated on the other side? And you saw all of them sitting like this. No one can sit in. Everything that the government, GOD of the day, told them to do is what they're doing. 6 feet. And then they say Jesus was there. This is God. Then they were saying God is there. You understand? And some of them they even closed the church's door or the marks, wherever is it. They closed these places. Only one man. And if I If I know that preacher, he's a white preacher. If I know him, he's from California. He said, bring it on, man. He said, bring it on. We are not closing our doors. We're not shutting our doors down because of COV. He said, bring it on. That's what I expected all these people to do. Organized religion. Because I don't think that white preachers, I think he's from California. And if I know his church, if I have the opportunity, I'll go and sit there, even though I don't believe in organized religion. But I would listen to him because he stood on principle. You know, religion that never, organized religion does not stand on principle. And that's the reason why today they are where they are. Now, in the state where I live, there are more churches shutting down every day. Why? Because the attendance is low. And they put all the services online. And people got used to it. So in other sense, it was the Almighty, not God, the Almighty showing our world that everything that is presented to you is based on falsehood. All of these organized religion, right? They are lukewarm. They are businesses. They don't have no backbone whatsoever. They tell you, oh, the 666. The 666 just mean a man. 66 is the combination of all the molecules, neutrons, and all these things make up a man. That's what the 666 mean. It's not devilish, evil like they want to tell you, you know. But we're living in a time when all of the information that is coming out is going to overshadow these people. It's going to expose. So COV was the time that exposed these people. So today, if you watch them, they're complaining. My argument has always been, and they show you, no God or great God or the Almighty is coming from heaven to provide to you the things that you need. The Almighty, to survive, to live, to be part of the living, you have to get them yourselves. That the Almighty has nothing to do with the affairs of man. Therefore, the Almighty can never take care of the church or the mosques, whatever it is that you go to watch, synagogues, whatever you go to worship. That thing must be taken care of. Those things, can only be taken care of by man. So that's why most of them are shutting down. If I can tell you statistically, there are more places of worship, I call them program houses, that are shutting down, that has been shut down since the introduction of COV into our world. And they're constantly being shut down. Why? Because attendance is low. More people now are watching things on YouTube. The knowledge of people understanding of religion is enhancing and advancing every day. People are noticing that everything is based on lies. So all of these elements are just going to be there continuously. And the more they exist, the more people drift away. You know, in this country, I think it's just, for America, it's just a matter of time. And I think it will happen when and I think it's a good thing too, because our world needs to be free of organized religion. Because organized religion, my friend, is the problem. And that's why they're shutting down. They're shutting down big time. Now they think that God can take care of the church. No. It's human beings that give money. Now, if those people that give you money to run your, if you don't believe what I'm saying, right? Don't collect offerings. Don't collect tithe. Nothing. No tithing, no offerings for 1 year as a church and see what happened. You want to try that? You try and see. If you try it and see, let me know what happened. So you know it is man to man. Man to man, that full of distrust and now, and behind they try to eliminate you. But who Jah bless, no one curse. Thank God, thanks God, we found a fact. Your worst enemy could be your best friend, and your best friend, your worst enemy. Some may eat and drink with you now, and behind they try to eliminate you. Only your best friend knows your secret, and only he can reveal them. So who's that guy fit? Let them wear it. I am a throw me con. I am a corner fall. I am a choo choo choo. So you understand? So yeah, these people are nothing but fake. They are not doing our world no favor. And I can come here and say that with all ounce of my beings. And it's true. Because look, once you discover the truth, like the truth is what is going to convict these people. The truth. The truth is life. The truth is light. When the truth enters into the darkness, it succumbs the darkness. It overwhelms the darkness because the darkness cannot stand the light. If when an eclipse happens, if anyone that watched the eclipse, when an eclipse happens, you see what happened. The earth crossed the sun and it blacks it. I think the earth or the moon, I think it's the moon that crosses the sun and blacks it, then create darkness. But it doesn't stay like that forever. So that's the power of the light. And these people, the more and more, I'm happy, and some of them are so corrupt too. So it's not just COV that are closing down their place of worship, their program houses. Some of them are so corrupt because for them it's all about business. They don't care about your salvation, if that's what. I think salvation is complete or total acceptance of knowledge. That's your salvation. So that's what salvation should be designed. That's what salvation should be defined as. There should be no religious connotation to salvation. Salvation is your complete and total acceptance of true knowledge. That's the definition. And that must be the definition of salvation. Until you find that total and absolute acceptance, until you come to that realization, you're still searching and seeking for salvation. You understand? And I think with time, these people, these organized hustlers, they are going to come to that realization. Each of them, they're going to say the truth. Even the ones that are in the music industries too, they're going to speak the truth. They know the truth. The ones in the music industry, these ones, did you hear them singing during that COV time? No, they were not singing. Because everything they're selling to you is hope. Hope for something that you're already experiencing here. You know, if you focus on life, you see. And COV is what actually, anyone that can go back into that time and see, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. How the institutions that you once believed, you once put your trust in, how they let you down. Today, if you look at them, most of them are lukewarm. They are on YouTube preaching. People don't even watch these things anymore. Look at the one with the mega church. His church is already dry because all he was preaching was hope. And the more people go and listen to that stuff, and then they look at the reality, it's not reflecting in their reality, they're going to go. You know what I mean? Personally, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I pay attention to a lot of things. And I think it's a good thing. You need to look. If you don't know this, take it from the Common Sense channel. In your life, there are always people trying to screw you. Whether you know or not, when you go to bed, there's always someone lurking, trying to mess with you. And that person is not Satan. It's not devil. It's not a demon. No, none of that stuff they tell you in the religious text. No, it's none of them. The one that's lurking, or the one that's the boogeyman under the bed or in the closet, is trying to screw you always, are these people. Not trying to demonize them or anything like that. But it's the truth. And the truth, my friends, is what convicts people. Ask anyone. The truth is what leads you to true repentance. It's not like the word that they preach in there. No. You can preach all you want about sin, evil. No, somebody want to do it, they're going to do it. But the moment they understand the truth behind the evil and the truth about whatever it is that they're doing, when they discover that, they will repent without even you telling them. So we all must come to that place in our lives where we understand the truth. And then that truth is what's going to lead us to true repentance. Until then, you're just wasting your time. Because even the ones that stands before you and preach the so-called gospel to you or the truth as they want to see it, they are in doing the worst of things than you can ever imagine in closed doors. But when they present themselves to you in public, it's the opposite. You don't have to take it from me, because I know this happened a lot in Africa. That's the place we're trying to free of religious dominance, so, organized religion. Because I don't want to say put all religion into just a religion. No, that would be too generalizing. But just say organized religion. And that's what people need to know, the difference between religion and organized religion. Organized religion is an organization that geared towards everything has to be structured. They're program houses. Religion, that's in you. You understand? It's embedded in you. That's the one Yeshua Mashiach was talking about. The one that's in you. It says the kingdom of God. That's religion. It's in you. You're born with it. The one outside of you, that's organized religion. So when I talk of religion, in the beginning, initially, I wasn't differentiating them. I was just saying religion. And that's what people need to get. Anyone talking on this subject, you need to differentiate the difference. Religion is innate. You're born with it. Organized religion, that's the creation. And that's what Yeshua Mashiach, aka Jesus Christ, was talking about. That thing is in you. You don't need to go looking for it nowhere, because it's in you. We are religious by nature. You understand? Why is that? Because we're always seeking for something beyond ourselves. Even from the time people wanted to talk to something beyond themselves, so they created images to project their spirit into, to be able to talk to themselves. Put a person on an island where there's no other human being. It's just them. See what they do in time. They'll create something to engage with or talk to. Another good movie to watch is Cast Away. Watch Cast Away. You'll see what happened in there. Human being has always been religious by nature. It is in us. But anything outside of us is organized religion, and that's the one I dislike. I'm not an antichrist. I don't even know what that trash is, antichrist. Because when we look at history, we know antichrist has always come from organized religion. Organized religion is the antichrist, if you ask me. I can do an entire video on this. So anyone call you an antichrist, just point the finger back to organized religion. And if you study the history of the church, I didn't want to go to the crusade or the Inquisition. It wasn't no Satan or boogeyman from anywhere that came out and started doing all the evil, the worst atrocities you can think of, burning people alive at stake for just thinking different. Imagine our world today, we can do that. We can think different, like what I'm doing on my show, on my video, around this video right now. I'm thinking different. Should I be burned at stake because I'm thinking different? You understand? But that stuff happens. So anyone tell you about Antichrist, my friend, because that's the biggest thing. They used to call it heretic, because they think, a scientist and a philosopher just said one day, he got up and said, the earth is not the center of the universe. Dude almost had his head removed. And it was true. Turns out it's true. The earth is not the center of the universe. The center of the universe is the sun. And the Almighty, the Creator, set it up that way. But they're preaching something different, organized religion. And it's still doing the same thing today. Everything that the Almighty is against, or it is against, they are preaching. They pretend as if they know and understand the mindset of the Almighty. And they're the same people contradict themselves too. They say, oh, but you can never understand the mindset of the Almighty. But then they even have schools on this stuff. You understand? So these people, COV kind of exposed them. So today, when they shouldn't be surprised, because had they stood up on principle against GOD and say, no, we are not going to cave like that honorable preacher man in California. I don't know his name. I wish I knew his name so I can say it on my video. But if you're in California, that's the kind of person you want to sit in his church because he stood on principle. I don't think he was the only one. There are a couple of them on YouTube that were just against everything that was happening. And they, my friends, when I saw them on YouTube, I said, at least someone has some common sense. And these people were standing up based on principles. And I think those were the true disciples of Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua HaMashiach, when you discover Yeshua HaMashiach, your life will never be the same. Because Yeshua HaMashiach stood on principle. And that's what they don't tell you. Yeshua HaMashiach was not the kind of meek, cowardice person. No. He stood on principle. And I believe there are still people, and I call them believers. I don't call them Christians because that's man-made stuff. I call them believers. That's what Yeshua HaMashiach called them. They're still in our world today. And if you know these people and they're out there, they're not running organized religion. They're running the true teachings of Yeshua HaMashiach. If you want to go there, find them and go there because they'll teach you knowledge of yourself. You understand? If you're that kind of person that still believes that, find the true place. Not all of these fake. You see how some of them, the mega ones, mega program houses, you see how they're fitting? That tells you none of these people were built, their houses were built on solid foundation. All of the houses, the program houses were built on sand. And so when the storm and when the flood came, it eroded everything. And that's what's happening to them. And I tell you, with time, more and more of these people will show their true color to the world. What we saw during COV, recants that, COV, was just another way to expose all of the ills of our system. The system has life, and these people were part of that system. And when it came, they did not stand on principles. They did not stand up for what they were preaching, because they said, practice what you preach. Barry White says, telling me this, telling me that. You know, you telling me all of this stuff. He said, baby, practice what you preach. You understand? It is like these people were in our world, man, and they would just flourish in our world with just great wisdom and in their music to the world. They were blessing our world with a powerful music and voices and telling us the truth, like the great one Bob Marley. Sometimes I sit there and I listen to his songs, and I said, this man was a prophet given to us and taken away so soon. But the words will live forever in the hearts and minds of the true believers. So yes, that's the changes COV brought to our world. And I think it's only going to get better, not going to get worse. You know? And in the medical field, I think, again, with time, AI, take it from me. I'm not trying to give anyone ideas over here, but I believe in the future, near future, not distant future, because I think the technology is already out there. But AI is going to enhance this, that when you get sicker or sick, you'll just, all you would need to do, grab your smartphone and you can download that app, and you can, an AI app that would literally help you to diagnose whatever is it that happened in you. All you need to do is just tell it your symptoms, and it will give you the right, precise diagnosis. And you wouldn't even need to go to these people. But if some of you see, this country is a country of choice. I think the whole world is a place of choice. All human beings are predisposed with choices. The choices we make are what determines the direction in which our life is headed. We may make good choices and we make bad choices. Has nothing to do with religion. We're always going to make these choices, regardless of religion. If you want to come on my channel, I'll talk about. On my channel, there are two things I like to talk about, because I know these two are the problems: religion and government, politics. Government is politics. Religion and government, these two, you cannot extrapolate them. They're the same. They operate the same. They have the same symptoms. They have the same issue. They have the same problem. The same solution. They provide the same solution, the same problems. They're always working in concept with each other. That's why during that time, if you watch them, they were both coordinating. None of them could oppose the other. You never saw religion oppose government. Government never opposed religion. There are a whole lot of bunch of people that were misled because of religion. And there are a bunch of people, organized religion. And there are a bunch of people that are misled because of the government. And the medical field was right in the middle. None of them stood on principle. None of them stood on things that was wrong. Imagine when someone pays you to go to take a vaccine. You know, in your own common sense, you know that something is wrong about that. But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And today, yang, no one is saying nothing. No one ever brought it up. The media, I don't want to talk about the media. The media is watch off. There'll come a time when all of that stuff is going to be obsolete. The media is going to be obsolete. True. They won't exist. They won't, even if they do exist, it's not going to be relevant. There'll probably be a state media. That's what the government is going to be the one running them. Because if they want to compete in the private sector, they won't be able to compete. Yeah. So they'll end up selling, or if they didn't sell their companies, they'll end up being on, like all the people doing podcasts, YouTube. They're gonna be on YouTube. That's the only place. And even if it did, only the ones that are credible will exist. The ones that are not credible, the lying ones and the corrupt ones, they will fizzle out. Because our world is going to be moving towards the truth. A lot of people are going to be buying into the truth, because the truth is what sets you free. That's why Yeshua Mashiach said, knowing the truth will set you free, not believing the truth. Organized religion wants you to believe the truth. But Yeshua Mashiach says, in his own way, the ancestors, that look, knowing the truth is what sets you free. You understand? Believing and knowing, those are two things. Completely different. So again, I want to thank everyone that watched my video, everyone that support me. Continue to watch my video. I never say click, like, none of that stuff. Because I believe the truth sells itself. You don't need to force it down people. Oh, like my video, please. No, I don't do that here. I just say the truth. If you got issue with it, there's something called freedom of speech. You know what I mean? And the freedom of speech, although it has limitation, but it's your God-given right. And not only that, there are blood of patriots that bled for that right, especially in this country. Some of these individuals were just farmers. Some of them were nobody. You would never know their names. Some of them were just ordinary people. But one thing they believe that you have that right to speak your mind. Because no change, you cannot hold your government accountable if you can't speak to them. And at the end of the day, you put them there anyway. So you should be able to tell them how you feel. You understand? And that's why when we sit here, we look at Africa, we don't feel good because those people out there don't have that right. And this is in the United Nations Charter too, that you have a right to speak to the government that represents you. If you think something is wrong, at the end of the day, it's your life that's being impacted. Maybe you may say something that may help someone. And that's what I do on my channel. I don't do like other people because I don't follow other people's trend. Because I know someone is controlling the narrative out there. You know, someone is telling you what to say, what to do. I know that stuff. I seen that during COV time. I saw it. And that's when I start to pay attention that someone is controlling the narrative. And whoever is controlling the narrative is not a good human being. It's deceitful. That individual is dangerous, you understand? Because you don't have that kind of power to tell people what to say, what to think, and how to behave. You don't have that right. That right belongs to me, belongs to us, to think for ourselves. All change, my friend, begins when you start to think. And when you start to think, you start to ask meaningful questions. And let me tell you, if you do that, that's the beginning of your salvation. True salvation. That's the beginning of that. I want to thank all my subscribers. And anyone you have question, comment, hey, don't hesitate to put them there. We will continue to talk about these things because they are relevant. All of those people that treated those people, there are a lot of people in our world today that lost their loved ones during that time. And there are no accountability for any of the people that were involved in that stuff. You know, all of the promised politicians come promise you they would do this, do that, did nothing. You understand? So thank you again, and I hope that you, again, as I've always said, the greatest thing that could ever happen to anyone is not the day you were born, not the day you had your first child, the day you graduated from high school, college, the day you became a lawyer, doctor, none of that stuff. The greatest thing, my friend, that could ever happen to you is the day you discover yourself. Because when you discover yourself, you will find the truth. And the truth will serve to you as the light in the dark. All of those things if you notice, all the evil creatures, they exist in the darkness. And the only thing that can shine on them is the light. And when the light shines on me, you know when you live in a house with a lot of cockroaches and you turn on the light, right? See what happens? See all the cockroaches start to run left, right, left, all over the place? Yes, the same way when the light shines on these evildoers, right? The evil ones. You know them. Most of you know them. They're there. Everything that comes out of their mouth is evil. They can never say anything good because Yeshua Mashiach says, from your whatever comes out of your heart is a representation of who you are. So whatever you say out of yourself, if it's evil, if it's not good to humanity, that's exactly who you are. You're evil. So all of these people, my friend, will be exposed in our world, in our age, not too long from now. And they will be exposed in the worst possible way. And when that happens, they will become irrelevant. They will become as if they're dirt to the earth, because no one will honor them, not even their offsprings. Their children will honor them. They will become like a vagabond, wandering from one place to another. Money will mean nothing to them. Even if they have plenty of it, they won't know what to do with it because they are useless. I want to thank you again for all those people that support and watch my video. Hope that you are doing great and living in this God-given, almighty given green earth. Have a pleasant day and be safe. Thank you.